Okay, so today I am reviewing the Ride1Up REVV1 DRT, or I'm just gonna call it the dirt version of this bike. So this bike is a bike that is made for the off-road. It's made for getting dirty, going off the beaten path because of the super knobby tires and also the dual suspension that you have on this bike that is very, very pillowy, I would say. And also this bike does come in two different colors. So you do have a blackout version and also the toy soldier version, which I have here, which is more like a kind of like a gunmetal type of army green type of design, which I think it looks really great. And it's coming with a 52 volt, 1000 watt Bafang motor that does peak out higher than that. And then also this does have a regular price tag of $2,595, but it is on sale for $2,395 at the time of this video. And it's been on sale for that price for quite a while. Now this bike is in the same family of one of my favorite bikes that I reviewed last year, which is the Ride1Up REV1 full suspension model. They do also make a single suspension model, but both of those models are really made for street riding, where this one is made for going off-road. Now, of course, you can ride it in the road like I am right now, but because of these knobby tires going over this paved asphalt that I'm on right now, you do feel the vibration a little bit more. It's kind of like bumping, but it's nothing that makes it uncontrollable or anything like that. But these tires really aren't made for riding on paved surfaces for a long time, but you can do it. And this bike does ship to you as a Class 2 electric bike, and you can unlock it to Class 3 and even an off-road mode where you can get speeds up to around like 33, 34, 35 miles per hour. And this does have an estimated range between 30 and 60 miles depending on how you're riding. And so if you are trying to decide between which version to get, let's talk about some of the differences between the dirt version and also the regular street version. So starting up front with the big knobby tires on the dirt version, again, as I mentioned before, really aggressive treading for going off-road versus the more slick type of tires that you have on the regular REV1, which is, again, is going to give you better mileage and better control when you're riding in the roads or paved surfaces and stuff. And there's also a difference with the fenders. So on the regular REV1, you will find metal fenders that do cover most of the tire on the bike, where on the dirt version, you will find smaller plastic fenders that don't cover as much, but they are situated higher above the tires. And from my off-roading experience, I found that it did give me some really good protection. So I think these are just more of the dirt bike type of style fenders. And then getting back to the wheels, the wheelbase on the dirt version is going to be wider, and that's going to give you just more stability when you're going over rougher terrain, or you might want to be doing some jumps and stuff with this bike. I think the wider wheelbase, as far as like my knowledge, is just going to be better for those type of things. And there's also a difference with the headlights. So on the regular REV1, you do have a motorcycle style headlight, and then also on the dirt version, the headlight is actually like built into this like case for it, and I think it looks really slick. I love the way it looks. I love the color of it, and I actually wouldn't mind this on the regular version of the REV1 bike. And both of these LED headlights do illuminate a lot in front of you, and they do have multiple different modes. So when you are riding during the daytime, they do function as a daytime running light to give you a little bit more visibility to other cars and other people around you. And then also when you're riding at night, you do have a high beam and a low beam option. But now on to the main difference that you'll see just visually between these two bikes, and that happens right in the middle of the frame of the bikes, where on the regular REV1, you don't have anything that comes with it by default. You can add in a storage basket that they do sell. It just screws in into 4 screws, and then now you're able to throw in a jacket or throw in anything else that you want to put in there. Or if you're not wanting to use that, you can always bolt like a water bottle holder or a bike lock in that middle frame. But on this DRT or dirt version, it does come with this MOLLE panel by default, which is super nice to have. So now you can go ahead and strap things down, or you can attach different MOLLE bags and different things to it to be able to store your sunglasses or a medical kit or whatever you want. So you just have instant customization with this panel, which I like. But you can also take this panel off if you don't want it. And then also you can put in that same storage basket that I showed you with the regular REV1. You can put it in the same location. It fits just the same. But for me, I like this panel, so I am going to leave this on. Now there is a difference in the price between these two bikes. I know that the dirt version does cost more, I think by like $100 or $150 or so. Now another major design difference between these two bikes is going to be the seats. So on the regular REV1, you have a long all black type of design moto style seat, typical looking e-bike seat that gives you a lot of good distance to be able to scoot up and down, which I like. But on this dirt version, you do have a seat that has a little bit more texture to it. And so you have not only more of a pattern to it, but also you have kind of like a little bit of a raised ridge that goes along the inside of the seat. And I did have a little bit of concern with how this was going to feel comfort wise, whether or not I'll feel like that additional kind of stitching and stuff on it, but I actually don't. And it does do a good job of making sure that I stay situated on the bike when I am going off-road. Okay, so now for my speed test. So I do do have this bike fully unlocked in the off-road mode, which I think most people will do. Now, in order to unlock it to this off-road mode, you do need to contact Ride1Up, and they'll have you sign like a little disclaimer and waiver, making sure you know when and where you can ride in this mode. But then after that, you'll have the bike fully unlocked after entering a couple of codes and things like that in the settings, which is pretty simple to do. And so this first test will be throttle only, using the half twist throttle here on the right-hand side of the handlebars. But anyway, 3, 2, 1, boom. And here we go. So Bafang motors are always really good. So we're already at 10 miles, 11, 13, 15, 17, 18 miles per hour. We're moving here already. 20, 22, 23, 25. And the GPS app on my phone is like 1 mile behind on the display here as far as the speed. But we're already at 28 miles per hour, 29. And we hit 30. Yep, we hit 30. We're showing 32.5 here on the GPS app here. I got some stuff here and debris here on the road. Let me make sure I do miss that. So we reached like 31 miles per hour, I think, according to my GPS app on my phone. The bike's display was showing around 32. It maybe got up to 33 there as I hit the end of the road here for this. So definitely I am easily able to get 30 miles per hour with this bike, which I am very happy with. So yeah, off-road mode on this bike feels really nice. But now let me test out these hydraulic disc brakes, and I'm going around 20 miles per hour, and now slamming those brakes. Oh man, these brakes are so nice. These brakes are so good. I mean, that was a really nice controlled stop. No noise at all. I mean, this thing gets you to a stop in a hurry. I love the brakes on this bike. Now, hopefully I don't scare these geese away. I'm not gonna bother you. Get on, go ahead. Enjoy your day. Okay, so now the same test using pedal assist in 3, 2, 1, boom. And here we go. And this is a cadence sensor. So the cadence sensor is not going to be as like premium as like a torque sensor, but because of the way this bike is tuned, we're already at 20 miles per hour, and you can get up to a very fast speed without really having to pedal very hard or make a lot of rotations in your pedaling. And we're at 25, 26 miles per hour. And right now I'm already starting to feel the ghost pedaling, where I'm pedaling very hard, but you don't really get that sensation that you're helping out that much, because you're really not. And we hit 30 miles per hour right there. And now my legs are really pumping because of the ghost pedaling. And okay, so now it's time to go a little bit off-road here. So it's time to get this DRT dirt bike a little bit dirty here. So this bike already feels super smooth over this type of terrain. And I've taken a number of different e-bikes in this type of area over here, but I can tell you already that this thing is so buttery with the suspension system. And now there are some differences here with the suspension between the regular REV1 and also this dirt version. So with the front suspension, you have 120 millimeters of travel with the regular REV1, and then with this dirt version, you do have 150 millimeters of travel. Now with the rear suspension, I can't remember what it is for the regular REV1, but I do know with the dirt version, it does have 76 millimeters of travel. But what I can tell you is that Ride1Up definitely designed this dirt version to be more suited for terrain like this. And I'm going like 15 miles per hour with no care in the world. And this thing is just handling so nicely. So this thing is a fun ride in this type of terrain. But again, even if you are going to be riding it in the road with cars and other things around you, you can still do that. This is a mixed use type of bike. And to be honest with you, with the regular REV1, you can do the same thing. Like I took that off-road too. And while the tires weren't really made for that type of stuff, because of the powerful Bafang motor, it still was able to handle a lot of the stuff that I threw at it. But if you know, mostly you are going to be trying to do stuff like this, you're going to want to go with this dirt version, because it is just something that is very stable. But then also this seat allows me to feel like I am planted to the bike. And yeah, so fun. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this earlier, but the tire size for both of the bikes are going to be 20 by 4-inch tires. And now let's go ahead and see if I can get back up this hill that I went down first. And I'm gonna see if I can do it throttle only. So let me go ahead and hit it. And let's see. We started to get mostly up it, but yeah, one of the problems with this being single geared is that trying to, pedal my way up that is kind of difficult even with the pedal assist, but we got most of the way up there, so that was pretty good. All right, so now let's see how this performs in a little bit more of a slippery surface like this loose gravel here. So going downhill at a pretty decent clip, feel very good. These tires are just really, really gripping this surface, and the ride is so comfortable. It's kind of like riding in a very nice fancy car. I remember the first time I rode in a very high-end like Mercedes or Lexus back in the day, and you felt that suspension of the car. It just really kind of changed your mind when it comes to ride quality. But yeah, this bike does the same thing. If you've been able to ride other e-bikes that don't have as good of a fine-tuned suspension like this one, you can really tell the difference. But the main thing I'm really trying to pay attention to here is just how this thing grips on this type of surface. I don't feel like I'm going to slip out or anything, which is very important. And let me increase the speed here just a little bit. Oh yeah, here we go, baby. And I'm going in and out of very slippery gravel like I did crossing this kind of medium here, and still did a really good job at making sure that I maintain some really good control. And I normally wouldn't be going this fast on this type of really uneven, rocky type of terrain with other e-bikes, especially with the tires and stuff, but I feel confident in these tires being able to handle this. And I'm actually not getting any little rocks or anything popping up and hit me in my face or behind me, and that's because these fenders are doing a good job, and the fenders might be a little bit deceiving because they look very small, but they are functional. But now let's go back up this hill, and I'm actually just going to use the pedal assist to be able to get back up this hill. And ooh, there was a little slippage right there, but that was a really kind of very slippery part. But other than that, I'm getting up this thing very easily. Oh yeah. I mean, it just feels smooth, man. So smooth of a ride with this bike. And speaking of range, the battery on this bike comes in again at 52 volts and 20 amp hours, and the estimated range is between 30 and 60 miles. Now, I can't tell you what type of range you will get because different factors like how much you weigh and how much you're going to be using the throttle and stuff will factor into the determination of how long you can actually ride this bike before the battery runs out. But I feel very confident in off-road mode with me mostly using the throttle most of the time. I can get, at least that 30-mile range. I'm at like 17 miles right now, and I've been riding pretty heavily today, and I am at 3 bars left, so that's pretty good. So I might be able to actually get over 40 miles, and that's with me mostly using the throttle in off-road mode. But as far as like my top speed that I've been hovering at, around like 25 to 27 miles per hour. So I haven't always been pushing it to that 30 miles per hour. But again, I'm confident with the range of the battery being able to get me through an entire day of riding without feeling like I need to charge it. But when it does come time to charge the battery, you can use one of the 2 included keys to take the battery off the bike and then charge it that way. I can't remember the actual charging time off the top of my head. Sorry about that. But you can use a charger to do that, or you can always leave the battery on the bike and then charge the battery that way. Because of this open frame type of design, you can easily access the charging port. And also the battery does have a little button there to be able to see the remaining battery life on the battery itself. Now, these really knobby tires, when you are riding in the road or on paved surfaces, they do make more noise than your regular slicker type of tires. And also you feel a little bit of kind of like a bumpiness to them when you are riding, like it's a little bit of a vibration pattern that you have. Nothing that's annoying, just something that is noticeable. So if you are looking to ride mostly in the road or on like a paved bike path, I would say you probably either just want to switch out the tires or maybe go with a little bit lesser of an aggressive pattern here on the treading. But don't feel like if you're ever going to be riding for like 20 miles with this bike with these very knobby tires that you're going to hurt the bike or anything like that. It's just not going to be the most ideal when it comes to the total comfort of the bike, but it's not that big of a deal. Now, on both of these bikes, you do get a brake light on the back, so when you press on the brakes, it will brighten up a little bit more. But only on the regular REV1 version do you get turn signals on the rear light and also up front next to the headlight. But they opted not to add turn signals to this DRT version of the bike. Now, I do get why they didn't add turn signals to this more off-road type of bike, because when you're out riding in the middle of grass or anything like that, you don't really need turn signals. But the rear brake light on this already has the built-in turn signals into it, so I just think that they need to do the wiring for it, which I don't understand why they didn't do it, because this bike does cost a little bit of money. But even if they wanted to charge a little bit more for that, I personally would have liked to have turn signals. And so yeah, those are the major differences between the 2 versions of this bike. But now let's just really focus on this DRT version of the bike. And keeping with the design, I just really like in the middle of the frame of the bike how the actual frame protects the removable battery, so it acts as like a roll case just in case you ever drop this bike or fall off of it. So it will help just protect that battery a little bit more. But I really think the housing that protects the controller and also some of the other wires on the bottom of the frame of the bike really is pretty slick looking. And the addition of these kind of like etched out plates around the bike and also the logo placement and everything really makes this bike look very sleek. And personally, between the 2 versions of this bike, I really like the design of this DRT version. I think it does have a little bit more personality to it. especially with this Molly panel in the middle of the frame of the bike that adds a nice little touch and also usefulness to it. Now let's talk about the controls for this bike. So on the handlebars, you will find the controls for the display. So you'll find the mode button and also a plus and minus button to control going up and down the different pedal assist levels. And then the display itself is a two-tone 3.5-inch display, the same that's on the regular REV1. And also I can see it easily with my polarized sunglasses, and also it's pretty bright in the middle of the day. Right now I have the sun kind of beaming down on me as soon as I pass this little area right here, and I can still see the display with no problem. The one thing that it is missing is some type of USB port. So typically at this price range nowadays, you are going to start to see either a USB type A or a USB type C port on this, so you can charge your phone when you're riding. But now on the right hand side of the handlebars, you will find the controls for the headlight, and also you will find the button for the electronic horn. It's pretty decent. And then also you'll find the half twist throttle, and then the rubber grips on this bike are really nice. So they feel really good as far as giving you a nice grippy surface when you especially are going off-road and you need to make sure you hold on to the bike. Now let's talk about pedaling. So this bike does have a cadence sensor, so it's not the more fine-tuned, better torque sensor that you see on bikes, especially at this price range these days. But this bike really is not made for pedaling because it is single geared. So that means that you don't have any controls to be able to go up and down any gears or anything like that, which makes it easier if you are going up hills or anything. So you have one basic pedaling mode that you have with this bike, but because this motor is so powerful, especially when you unlock it into class 3 or off-road mode, the lack of any gears really isn't noticeable or a problem at all. You don't have to put in a lot of effort to get this bike going. But if you do drop down to a pedal assist 0, so there's no help from the motor, or if you do run out of battery, that's when you are going to be running into an issue with pedaling. But with me being 6 feet tall, I feel like my knees aren't coming up too high when I am pedaling. So it's a pretty comfortable riding experience, especially with the seat, the suspension and everything when you do have to pedal. And as far as like the recommended rider height for this bike, it is going to be between 5'3" and 6'4". And the recommended rider weight for this bike, or the total weight and stuff that this bike can handle, is going to be 350 pounds. And then if you do need to pick up this bike and move it around, it does weigh 91 pounds with the battery installed, but that is lighter than the regular REV1, which does come in at 93 pounds. Okay, so look, I think that's about it. So the regular REV1 was already one of my favorite e-bikes that I've ever tested, just because of the execution of it. And Ride1Up is a great company at putting together a very well thought out bike with the features and the performance and the speed and the comfort and everything you really want from an e-bike, especially over the $2,000 price tag, even though they do make other bikes that cost less than that. But yeah, anyway, with this DRT version of this bike, I find myself falling back in love with this bike, especially for going off-road. And I don't have a lot of off-road e-bikes, but this is already going to be one of my favorite ones that I will be using because of the suspension system and also the aggressive motor that does give me a very nice top speed when I really do want it. And for me, when I look at bikes, especially at this price range, I really like to look at the total package. So that's the brand of the company, how well do I really trust them, and then also just the complete package of the bike itself. And I can say that this REV1 DRT dirt version, whatever you want to call it, is a really good solid bike that all around checks a lot of the boxes that I like in an e-bike like this. So I'm gonna drop a link down below in the description of this video that will take you to the website where you can buy this bike if you're interested in it, and it might be an affiliate link. And if you do use that link, that does help support this channel. So I really do appreciate that. But what are your thoughts about this bike? Drop a comment down below. And like always, I do want to thank you for watching this video, and I will catch you later. Peace.